All right, we are back again. Nick, David, and Mike here. We're going to talk about budgeting for vacations and budget vacations and vacation deals and all sorts of vacation stuff. So I'm back to having a drink with the boys tonight. I'm drinking Reds.
I went back to PBR, the old Blue Ribbon. I had a 30 rack, and I'm going to continue drinking this for a little while. So very, very excited about tonight's topic. I enjoy vacationing for inexpensive. So I call this pandemic my long-term vacation so far. So it's working out well.
Mike, you drinking anything or you got water?
I got water.
Water. Okay.
Oh, that happens.
That does happen.
Sometimes on vacation you need water.
So with vacations, we have a lot of, vacationing experience here, but really kind of different levels. So when I was young, we took a vacation every year. I've been to a lot of places. Since I've been an adult, I've taken, I think, 2 real vacations. Nick takes like 3 a year. Mike doesn't vacation a ton, but, he does a little bit here and there.
Yeah, a little bit here and there, mostly doing things that my kids want to do.
I've noticed in my old age now, not having a child at home, the only one of us that can say that, I want to go do more things now because I can.
Yeah.
So I was telling Nick before we hit record here that I almost was planning on 2 cruises for next year because Norwegian was running a sale, but their sale wasn't quite as good as what I was willing to buy. So I'll just stick to 1 next year as long as the pandemic doesn't screw that up.
Yeah. Vacation for me as a kid was going to a campground within minutes away from home kind of a thing. So it wasn't really going far. We went to Cedar Point, which is America's largest roller coaster park, down in Ohio, which nobody likes Ohio. But that was a vacation. Now that I'm an adult, I'm doing the opposite of what David did, right? So I'm traveling the world and going to see all these new places and getting really excited about it. So I think it's really fun to see it from your perspective and my perspective because they're complete opposites. And then to watch, I'm scared because, I don't want to get burnt out now and never want to travel when I'm older and become so.
I can tell you, I did a lot of traveling when I was young. I couldn't say I'm burnt out on it. It's just, one of those things where I couldn't continue to do that because, money and kids and stuff. But now that kids are not an issue and money's less of an issue, that's going to, I would hope at least to go somewhere once every year or 2.
Sure.
I know that the last big vacation we took was in 2012. So that's 8 years ago now. And I took my wife and daughter to Hawaii, which was my 6th trip there first. So I've been really lucky. I've got to go to a lot of places that a lot of people never get to go to.
Sure. So, I want to kind of touch on the topic. I want to let you guys know when we're talking vacations, right? I want to hit for everybody. Being, lower income to still be able to budget for a vacation, and again, doing the small weekend traveling. Depending on where you live, all the way up to leaving the country and going on full week to let's even call it a month vacation. So we're going to try to pinpoint each budget friendly thing, everywhere from low to high and in between, but still, again, having some financial responsibility doing it. So
I think one of the things I really want to hit on is you don't have to be rich to go on vacation. So there are a lot of deals out there, and if you're willing to put in the work, you can find those deals, whether it be for your airfare or for the hotel, or you get an all-inclusive. I know Nick loves to go to Mexico.
I do.
Why do you like to go to Mexico, Nick?
I love tacos. Let's be honest. The whole reason is anything in a tortilla is heaven to me. It's a beautiful area. It's very inexpensive. Um, I enjoy the culture that it brings, especially during festival times. I mean, we where I am here in this bubble, I don't get the nightlife entertainment things. So there it's something different. So I really enjoy going to Mexico. Honestly, it's so budget friendly if you do some research ahead of time and go for it. So I say today is the 14th of July. My anniversary for 10 years is coming up on the 17th. So I'll let you guys know kind of how vacationing started. It started really with my wife and I back then. We were very not financially there at the moment. So we looked at going up north into Michigan and staying at a hotel and driving up there for our honeymoon because we thought it would be inexpensive. Well, start doing research, and at the time, this is 2010, economy wasn't doing the greatest, so it was like I could get airfare to Las Vegas round trip for $70. They were giving me a free hotel, so I ended up going out to Las Vegas. That was the start of a gambling problem. So, but it was cheaper for me to go out of state completely across the country than it was literally for me to drive up north and stay, to actually take the vacation. So that's how I started being able to do research and figuring out some of these websites, and which I'm here to share some websites with you guys, what to look for, and how my wife and I do it. I say one of the episodes we were in South Dakota, right? I mean, we did that on a budget vacation. So.
Well, I know I get all the emails from a bunch of travel sites, like, for example, Travel Zoo. They send me stuff all the time. Hey, you can go to Ireland for $1,200, or hey, we have this all-inclusive deal down in Mexico for $200 a person, or all sorts of different deals they have. And I'm always watching, looking to see, hey, what might be affordable? What can I get away and do? Not that I do it, but it's out there. I know that when we decided to go to Hawaii for my 10th wedding anniversary, we ended up booking through Delta Vacations, which at the time was running a fantastic deal on flights. We were able to fly there and back for less than $700, which
Per person or everybody?
Per person.
Okay.
Which, for a flight to Hawaii is pretty dirt cheap at the time. And, the other accommodations, they were good. I had my budget of what I knew I wanted to spend, and I came in right around that. It was all told, everything we bought, everything we did, we were around $6,000 for the entire trip, which when I tell Nick, he freaks out because he probably doesn't spend $6,000 on 4 trips.
It all depends. I know when we go to Europe, right? I mean, that's going to be a $12,000 trip.
Yep.
One thing I guess I want to be open about is my wife and I, how we do it, right? So every week out of our paychecks, we put in a set amount of money, hers and myself. So we both fund one account, and it's the only joint account that we actually have. And so our rule is we look at how much money we have in this account, figure out where we want to go, and then honestly, if you can buy it with the amount of money that we have in the account, you can't say no, right? So if you want something, go buy it. And because usually we fly somewhere, we're not going to ship home a life-size statue of myself, so I don't have to worry about buying those types of things, So traveling farther is a heck of a lot cheaper because I don't have to haul things back home. So, that's how we budget, is every week. We don't do it monthly. We don't do it, and it was said to me a long time ago that vacationing is only expensive because of time. right? And I said, I didn't understand that. Well, you know, if you could go to Mexico for $700 for 1 week, you know, most of the time it's because you have a specific time that you can go, whether it's your kids for spring break, whether it's something. Now, if you can move spring break back and hit, you know, let's call it, or sorry, move it up, right, and hit February, which is, you know, a lot of times when we go, you can get there for $350. I mean, you just cut your price in half just like that. And let's say, you know, if you can hit 2 weeks, right? So now that 350 divided by, right? I mean, you're looking at so much cheaper, 175, you know, per week type of a thing. So the longer you stay, the cheaper it technically is because, you know, again, when you're surrounded by a specific time, a specific date, you're locked into having to spend that kind of money. So um, that's my biggest, I guess. Well, my biggest tip for right now is be flexible on your dates. Be kind of open. You know, if you have a job where it's hard to get vacation time, um, you know, search ahead of time. Search way, you know, 6 months in advance, and then keep watching it. I know cruises. I've never been on one, but I know that cruises get cheaper the longer you wait. I'm really glad that we waited for this one because we were going to go on a cruise for our 10-year anniversary, and I kept waiting for the price, and then COVID hit, and so we got lucky we didn't buy that. You know, but pick a destination, keep watching the prices, and I think that'll be great. Uh, say you mentioned Travel Zoo. I want to mention I use Cheap Caribbean for my all inclusives, cheapcaribbean.com, and we use Apple Vacations. They're actually owned by the same company. They will price match each other, and I love it because there's so many reviews from so many people. It's a very very high traffic site, and the reviews are honest. Um, you know, from actual people is how I feel. You know, and I don't live a high class life, so some people you can just tell like, oh, this, you know, the food wasn't as elegant as I wanted and this and that, and I'm like, or you could just tell that, you know, they're thinking the most expensive, they want 5-star stuff, and I'm sitting here going, I just want to be on vacation, not home. So you know, take a look at who you are and see what type of people you match up with, right? Um, use the reviews like crazy on that. So
Well, and you and I are both the same. We've never been on a cruise. Now, my wife has been on a cruise. She swears by it because there's so many activities on the boat. They make stops and you can get off and do different types of excursions. She just had a blast, and she finally talked me into it this year, booking a cruise. So we were supposed to go in October. We booked this way back before COVID hit, and we are adamant we will not be going in October, whether they cancel or not, because I'm not getting on a boat with all of this germ running around. So figure we'll probably push that off towards the first of the year, and hopefully, you know, we get a decent sized credit back, because from what we know, if the cruise line cancels, we get more than what we paid, and we, you know, paid for the trip now. I know Mike had a cruise that was planned last year, and he had some difficulties with that were thrown into that he had to cancel for. But Mike, what was the cruise you had planned last year? Because I don't remember any of the specifics, but I'm sure you do.
Well, it was interesting. We were going to go to Key West, and then we were going to actually hit Havana, Cuba. Well, with some of the other political stuff that happened last year, Havana, Cuba got canceled for just going then to one of the cruise line's islands. And I ended up getting $1,000 back just on that, and I kind of was like, well, this is money that I had already spent, so I kind of splurged and bought myself what was going to be first class plane tickets for the trip down and back. You know, I've only been able to fly first class when they've, like, you know, had to cancel flights and rebook me or whatever. So I'm like, you know, if I can splurge for that, and, you know, but yeah, as Dave said, that some personal issues came up, and I opted to cancel at the actually fairly last minute, only about a week or so before the cruise. But I got probably half my money back from the cruise line and a credit from the airline. that eventually I need to try to use because it'll expire before too long.
Yep. I say I first class is fantastic, isn't it?
It is.
You know, it's everything. It's everything I ever thought it would be. I say I'm going to be flying first class in October, which is another tip I want to give you guys. The only reason, again, I'm flying first class is I booked a trip, honestly, for April. That got canceled. It was supposed to be in July. Again, COVID, so this is officially canceled. So hopefully October hits, and well, I had booked my flight for out of Grand Rapids to Reno, Nevada is where I'm headed, and you know, when the price was low, I had bought, but I had a voucher from something else. So again, right, just like canceling. So they canceled one of my flights. They, I'd gotten a nice voucher from taking a flight that ended up leaving 15 minutes later. So they paid for my whole trip last year. And so I'm using it to upgrade. Now, my next advice is no matter where you live, there's probably a large city somewhere near you. Grand Rapids is quite large, but right, Detroit is bigger. So I'm actually going to be driving to Chicago. Yeah, it's 2.5 hours out of my way, but I'm going to get a direct flight, which I enjoy. I'm going to get a first class ticket, which includes two bags of check, a carry-on, and a personal item, right? All for free. I'm going to be able to drink as much as I possibly can for the 4-hour flight. And, priority boarding, which doesn't really affect me. I don't care when I get on the plane. We all get on, we all get off. But so if I flew out of Grand Rapids, honestly, my price would be more just sitting in regular coach. It cost me more than what it would cost me in gas and time to fly out of Grand Rapids, because I pay for both bags at $60 a pop, because I'm going to be having it's going to weigh a lot. My bags, the upgrade for a seat, for leg room, things like that. So really, it makes more sense for me to locate either Detroit or Chicago. And now if I fly out of Grand Rapids, here's the thing. I have a stop in Chicago, literally in Chicago, and then so I have a layover there for a couple hours, and then I fly out to another destination, or to my final destination. On the way home, I have to stop 2 times and take a chance of more layovers, and then finally get home. And and that honestly, the trip is 13 hours. Or if I go to Chicago, I literally have a 4-hour trip right there and back. So I really like just sitting on a plane and getting to the location. I think Hawaii, right? Do you guys always have to stop in California?
Stops depend on where you go. So I've stopped in Chicago. I've stopped in Atlanta. We've had a couple stops in either LA at LAX or in San Francisco. It's pretty direct nowadays. When we went in 12, we flew from Grand Rapids down to Atlanta and Atlanta straight through.
Sure.
So it's better than it used to be. It used to be the first couple times we went, it was Kalamazoo to Chicago, Chicago to either LA or San Francisco, and then to Hawaii.
Sure.
I hate getting off a plane and getting back on. If I can only do it once, I'm happy.
Yep. Well, that's to say, I don't travel enough to care, but like when I come home, I just want to be with my family. Like I want to be done right away. I mean, even the South Dakota trip, I was with my family in the car, but I mean that's 17 hours or whatever home. I'm like, man, I just want to get home, and then I got a kid. So I'm the kind of person who I want it to be easy. I want to sit back, relax, just be done with it. So that's worth money to me. I want to talk about driving. I don't know everybody out there that's watching where you guys live, but I know that within driving distance, and honestly to me, I mean, I probably drive more than most people are willing to. My best friend lived in New York for the longest time. That was, a 12-hour trip. I have no problem driving straight through to that, getting there and taking a quick nap or something. But my wife and I, we've driven to, Nashville, which is, 8 to 10 hours from here, South Dakota, which I normally I wouldn't drive except for the pandemic. That's the only reason. Indiana, Ohio, everything in the Midwest pretty much. So we've driven to Kansas City, Missouri, St. Louis. We took our daughter to the City Museum, which I'll plug that place. If you have young kids and you're looking for a family vacation or something, really, St. Louis, it's the world's largest zoo, 99 acres, absolutely free, except for you could take a train around the whole park, and I think it's $3 for one trip or $5 for a whole day. So of course we bought the whole day pass, and it's fantastic, worth every penny. The City Museum, literally, I think it's 12-story building. I'm not lying. There's a cruise ship, half of a cruise ship on top. Like, you get to slide down a huge slide. There's a Ferris wheel. I mean, this is the most amazing thing for kids. So if you can drive there, do it, right? If you have kids, So for me, going to the West Coast, it's cheaper to fly and time, right? I mean, it's 3 days type of a thing to get way out there. But, so time is money. But, now I'm looking at, if I have to fly 3 of us or 4 of us down to Ohio or, Nashville, that's not worth it to me, because I'm going to save 3 plane tickets basically by driving. So you can find Airbnbs. I want to talk about those. Airbnb, so go to, or VRBO, Vacation Rental by Owner. You can search in an area that you want to be. So let's say, I enjoyed my Nashville trip as well. So if you look at Nashville, right, I remember, so this is truth. So we looked at Nashville, and the cheapest hotel was about $180 a night. And that just is a lot of money. I honestly, so my wife and I stay at Super 8s. Super 8s are roughly $60 a night. It includes breakfast, which is fantastic. Like, I'm talking real, like we have waffles, real bagels, everything. I mean, this is a full good meals and for free. So we like to stay there. But Nashville, right? I mean, it was so expensive. So we looked up a KOA, campground, and found it for $30 a night, I think. And then got there, and it was 110 degrees in July. Popped the tent. It was like, I can't sleep. So woke up, drove around for a minute, waited for the place to open up, and got lucky and got a cabin that had AC for $5 more a night if I became a member. And the membership was basically free, because we stayed so long that, they gave me a 20% discount for staying 5 nights or whatever it was. So, the price to stay there was just fantastic, great time. So look for inexpensive ways to stay. If you have friends, honestly. So I have friends invite me all the time to places, right? I mean, I literally have friends in almost every state in the USA, and they're constantly like, hey, bring your family down. Come on, come stay. My family in Alaska is like, come stay with us. Come do this. And I'm like, so when you have stay, it helps the budget a lot, right? I mean, you're not paying for the hotel. So if you have friends that you don't often get to see, to me, I'm the kind of person where it's like, sometimes it feels a little weird, you don't want to impose and stuff like that, but they just really want you there, and the amount of time that you get to see, like, they're very happy. I open my house all the time to my friends, like, come on up, guys, and my door is always open. So, you don't have to camp at campgrounds all the time. Sometimes they have cottages, for, again, 40 a night. I know during big peak seasons up here in Michigan, I mean, gosh, those things run like 90 a night, so it can be expensive, but it's still a cheaper alternative than a $180 hotel. So,
well, you bring up a good point. If you can find somebody to stay with, that's definitely going to cut your bill down. So Caitlin's senior year, she really wanted to go to Miami and see her Aunt Janet. And I was perfectly fine with that. I found her a ticket on Southwest and booked the trip. I was going to have to drive her to Chicago because, as Nick said, if you fly direct out of Chicago, it's cheaper. And I don't mind driving to the city. So I said, yeah, I'll drive you. No big deal. And we ended up having to postpone that trip, and she ended up going in July instead. But, we're looking at like $300 to fly round trip. She stayed with her aunt for free. She had an absolute blast while she was down there. I think she was down there 5-6 days, and they did all the normal touristy things. They went to South Beach. They went to some, bowling alley that was some big deal. I have no idea. They rented a cabana at the beach. They did all the touristy stuff, and she just had an absolute blast, and she can't wait to go back down to Miami and, hang out some more. So find ways to make these things cheap. If you got friends, impose on your friends, because usually if they're a good friend, it's not an imposition. I know, we've been to some different places here. So Nick, tell me 3 places. I mean, you already mentioned in St. Louis what you would hit, but give me like 3 places that you would absolutely recommend everybody should go do.
Sorry. So with kids or without?
Either or.
So I've already mentioned St. Louis. Honestly, Nashville, Tennessee is a fantastic town. Things I like. So, there's a lot of nightly entertainment. We went before we had a kid, and we enjoyed everything about the town. There's again, this is country music area, so my daughter's going good night. She says good night to everybody. So
Hi, Emerson.
Yeah. Honestly, so Nashville is one of those places where everybody's welcoming. There's a lot to do. Honestly, you can't do enough stuff in a full week. The next thing is if I really enjoy Las Vegas, not just because I love to gamble, but my wife and I absolutely love going to shows, right? We were there last year, went and seen Circus Soleil. They jump in the water. I mean, this thing will blow your mind, right? I got to see Blue Man Group. You can do things that are free as well. So like the Bellagio has the fountains out front, which is where O is. But, there's back when I was a kid, Treasure Island had the pirate ships fighting. I mean, there's so many sights to see in this thing for free. Honestly, the price that it costs to get there, the cheap hotels, and the entertainment that you get for free while you're there, you could do that for free, or for very inexpensive. If you don't want to gamble, that's completely fine. And then, honestly, I love New York. I think everybody needs to go there. So, right, it's fun because my best friend lived there for the longest time, and we talk about doing tourist stuff with her aunt. For the first time, they're like, all right, we'll show you all this stuff, and then they like hated it, right? Like, because they do it, they're like, all right, this is kind of boring. But to us, it was like, man, Times Square is just amazing. Like, you look up and you see all these lights. You get the Statue of Liberty that you can go see. Now the World Trade Center. I was visiting by myself at one point, and I took the tram or or the L Chicago, right? I say
L Chicago.
The subway. So these things all have different names. But I took it by myself and literally rode it to the end and didn't realize that like I have to get off, and so then like I have to run to get back in. But the idea is like getting lost and having fun. But that has like Little Italy, right? Which, dude, that is built for people like you and me, right? I mean, these people stand on the outside of their restaurants and like, oh, come on, you look like you know how to eat. This is the best pasta, and they're like selling you on this stuff, and I'm like, dude, if you're like working this hard to sell me, like I'm in, right? Then you walk 2 steps later and you get Chinatown, and you can buy anything that you want in this place. So, my buddy, like that's the first place I had lychee, which is like a white strawberry, if I can describe it to people. I literally drive there and get so excited to have mango off the street, right? This lady's just peeling mango, puts it into a bag. It's the best mango you've ever had, right? I travel for those small little things and get excited about the big things, but like it's the small things that impact me.
So there are a couple things I want to talk about. Some of the destinations I would absolutely hit, but there are a couple other things I want to hit before we end this one. And one of them is going to be Chicago, because that's within driving distance for all of us. And Mike and I have spent a lot of time running around town. And the other one is a trip that I hope someday to take. Maybe with you two guys. I don't know, but make sure we get back to those things. Remind me if I forget. So Nick just named 3 places. So I'm going to go a little different. I'm going to go with the Los Angeles area, because I spent a decent amount of time there. I'm going to go with, obviously, Hawaii, because I've been there 6 times. So I'm almost a native. And I'm going to talk about the things you need to hit. So talking about LA first. LA in and of itself is fine. But if you're hitting the touristy stuff, which is not really in LA. You're going to Santa Monica to go to the pier. You're going to Disney, because obviously Disney's there and Disney's huge. Universal Studios, so you can take the tours at Universal Studios. It's a great time, great for families. Honestly, just cruising around Studio City for me is fun. If you like to get hit on by guys, you go down to West Hollywood, because my family has a lot of businesses in West Hollywood, and I get hit on by a lot of dudes down there. So I mean, if you're into that, Nick and I would be cleaning up if we like guys.
That happens.
That will happen. And the nice thing about LA is it's, at least within close driving distance to things like San Diego, which is a fabulous town. It's got a world-class zoo down there. Their Comic-Con is second to none. It's got SeaWorld. It's just a lot of fun anywhere in Southern California. And then obviously Hawaii, since I've been there so many times. So I went with my mom 5 times when I was a kid. So when I went as an adult, there were other things we wanted to do. So I planned all the touristy stuff for Dawn and Caitlin, because, your first time there are certain things you have to do. You have to go to Pearl Harbor. It's just a have to. I think a dinner cruise is a have to. So we planned a dinner cruise. The Polynesian Cultural Center is another have to. You just got to do it. But there were some other things that we did that I never got to experience. So we rented a Jeep one day, and we drove up the windward side all the way up to the North Shore. And we ended up stopping at a couple shrimp trucks, because they liked shrimp at the time. This was when Dawn ate meat. So they got shrimp and had a blast with that. We stopped at Matsumoto's General Store, which, if you go to Oahu, just get your ass up to the North Shore, go to Matsumoto's, get some shave ice. It's the greatest freaking thing in the world. Spend the extra 25 cents. Don't be a cheap ass. I'm a cheap ass. Spend the extra 25 cents for the holder. That way, when your shave ice falls, it falls into the holder. You don't lose any of it. It was so good that we literally went up there. We stop and we get shave ice, and then we go to the shrimp trucks and we get food. I ate hot dogs because I don't eat shrimp. We got done, and my wife goes, "What do you want to do?" I said, "Honestly, I want to go back to Matsumoto, get more shave ice," and that's what we did. So we had it twice in the same freaking day. It was so damn good. So for those of you that don't know, shave ice is basically, for us Midwestern people, it's a snow cone. But it's unlike any snow cone you've ever had if you live here. And, they'll have things that are Hawaiian shaved ice. In Hawaii, there's no D, it's not shaved, it's just shave ice. And it's really good anywhere on the island unless you go to the North Shore. If you go to the North Shore, it's the best thing you've ever had, and you want it at least twice. It's just phenomenal. So, if I've talked to Dawn before, I'd like to go back. If I was going back, I'd definitely rent a vehicle again and drive around. It's fabulous. I definitely hit a luau. We went to Jermaine's luau. It was just so much fun. And drinks that literally just put you on your ass. You get 3 drink tickets, and I could only drink 2 of them.
Oh, crap.
Dude, you couldn't drink a third if you wanted to, because you couldn't walk out of there.
I probably can. I just,
You just wouldn't walk out of there.
Yeah, it's like,
So, those are things I definitely would do. Before we talk about Chicago, because, that's a popular destination if you live in the Midwest, I'm going to talk about the one trip I really want to take. And I know I want Mike to go with me. I'd kind of like Nick to go with me too. So we're baseball fans, right?
I think we all are officially baseball fans.
We are baseball fans. Now, Nick likes the Tigers. Sorry about that. Mike and
I'm not sorry. Go Tigers!
Mike and I are the smart guys. We're Cubs fans. So Mike and I have had the privilege of sitting in the most beautiful park in all of baseball many, many times. Many of those times in the right field bleachers screaming left field sucks because left field sucks. And the one thing I would really like to do, because I am a baseball fan, is I want to take that trip along the East Coast where I can hit Fenway, Yankee Stadium, Citi Field, go down to Philly and go to whatever the hell that's called now. What is it, Citizens Bank Park maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
Camden Yards, absolutely want to see Camden Yards. Probably the number one ballpark I want to go to.
Yep.
To me, that's a trip. Now, an expensive trip because baseball tickets are expensive, but.
We talk about it every year, Courtney and I, talking about going on the 4th of July because you can sometimes pick one or two of those in between. That's honestly on our bucket list as well, is to literally, take that exact trip. I can't wait to do it. So we'll definitely let you know when baseball season opens when we're going. So, I love Wrigley, right? That if you're a baseball fan, I've been to I don't know 15 parks or something like that. I can't count. But I'm letting you know, like if you're a baseball fan and you enjoy what baseball is, so I get the parks an hour early, right? Like I'm a gate open. I want to be there even before that. Like I want to experience every second of this. This is who I am. Even my local Whitecaps, my wife gets upset because I show up early, right? She's like, we're just going to sit around. And I'm like, you sit around. I'm going to enjoy what base. So, all right. You go to Wrigley, right? And there's these guys who have these big wooden things, right? And they go to the foul line, right? And they beat the crap out of it with a wooden stick, and they're laying chalk lines, right? Like these people are by hand, right? It's not the new school like they push this thing with. No, this is like real baseball, how things used to be, and they still treat it that way, right? They finally got lights. Oh, I think like the year I went, they finally put up the actual electric lights in the outfield or whatever.
You want to know the year? I can give you the exact date.
I say I don't care, but
so, the first night game, which was rained out, the Cubs played the Phillies. It was rained out. 8/8 of 88.
Oh, was it that long? Okay.
It was that long ago. And then the first official game was the next night, 8/9, 88. The Cubs beat the Mets behind the strong pitching of Mike Bielecki. Things I know.
8/8 of 88. So, I mean, I was born then, but no. So,
I just know one of the best games in Cubs history happened on my birthday.
We'll talk about that in just a second.
I say, I gave you guys a list of things I would do with a family. I want to give you guys a list of things I would do if you're single or married and you guys. So my wife and I, we go on quite a few vacations. Honestly, every one of them is usually with our kid. We do one every year with just the two of us. My mother, even from the, has always said, she gets so much vacation at her job. She's like, hey, I will take a week off, watch your kid or kids, no matter how many you have, and you guys will be able to go spend alone time. She always thought that was very important, so she wanted to give that to us. So, again, we talked about Mexico, why I love Mexico. So I went to Puerto Vallarta with my wife. I stay at all-inclusives usually because I always assume free drinks and I can outdrink the amount of money that I'm going to spend. So we go, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico is literally, the problem is I always want to move to these places. I love to go see new places, but I always fall in love. And this is a place I have fallen in love with. Right next time we go, we're gonna stay on the Medicone. We're gonna stay in a hotel from there. It's gonna be fantastic. Um, we did the Rhythms of the Night, which is a cruise ship across the water. It's so beautiful at night. You can see every star. I mean, I live just outside the country, right? You can go to the country here in Michigan, right? And you cannot see as many stars anywhere that I've seen. I've been to the UP. I couldn't see. I was astounded by the sky in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Um, honestly, so there's the romantic zone, right? It's exactly what it is. Like it's a romantic location area. Um, so my wife and I had the greatest hands down relationship trip that we could have had. The only regrets, I guess, was staying at a resort, because like the problem is here in America, everybody has this thing for talking. I know David and I go through this all the time. He has a fear. He has a fear because of people talking and how it's unsafe, and he has this fear of oh, you're gonna everybody. You talk to some people and everybody gets mugged and everybody gets killed and blah blah blah, and then you talk to other people and like, no, it's the most amazing place. And so, right, there's that small sense inside of you that's like, man, I don't want to do that. So we get down there and I'm a little timid and I'm like, hey, they're like, oh, go check this out, this out, this out. We always ask. And I was like, all right, how safe is it to get into your taxis? And they're like, they're like, oh, okay, one of those people. And they laugh at you and they're like, no, you'll be completely fine. Honestly. And so your first trip, you're on the GPS making sure they're going to that spot kind of a thing. But really, hands down, it was like the greatest experience of my life. Like, I've never felt safer. I've never felt more welcome. You know, I can tell you guys, it is a very safe place. They talk about the cartel down there and stuff like that, and everybody talks about this, and they get you all worked up, and they're like, look, they don't hit tourist towns very often, kind of a thing. I mean, there's more people dying here in the U.S. from people going crazy and shooting just randomly than there is down there because, right, the cartel knows that, hey, Mexico needs this income, right? Like they can't supply it, so they have security and they have things like that. So honestly, that's my number one. Number two, I enjoyed myself down there. It's not as beautiful.
You kind of broke out there, Nick. I don't know where you went for number two.
Sorry, to the restroom. Who does number two work for? But no, Dominican Republic for the second location. It's not as beautiful as Mexico. It's a little bit poorer of a country. You can tell, which and I think you get sold a little bit more on stuff. Like, I mean, there's constantly everywhere you go on all these all-inclusive, right? People are gonna try to sell you sunglasses. The more I drink, the more stupid stuff I buy. But like, it's fun because like the cheap person I am, I try to get everything for like I bought a pair of sunglasses drunk for $2 because like I sat and negotiated for 40 minutes with a guy. But you can go get cigars if you enjoy partaking in that. I would say go to an all-inclusive there. The reason being, again, being a huge baseball fan, I wanted to go to the Dominican affiliate of the Detroit Tigers down there. Asked the locals, hey, should I? And they said, look, if you're going to hire a taxi for an entire day, 2 bodyguards to go with you. Reason being is, being a white male, they automatically kind of assume that you're scouting. And, when you're scouting, it means kind of you have money or your company has money. So, they're very honest. They're like, look, you can go, but these are the things that you're going to take steps to do it. But staying on the resort was completely safe. The resort we were at was 2 doors down from the Navy or the National Guard for Dominican Republic. So it was really safe. They hold all inclusives. They have activities, volleyball. You can get to, if you're an outgoing person like the 3 of us, I mean, you get to know people. I'll be honest, the Dominican Republic was 4 hours before we hopped on our flight, my wife told me that she was pregnant for my daughter. So I had to officially drink for 3. I took that as my responsibility. Thank you. My wife went with her 2 friends on a little excursion. Come back, I'd been drinking a little bit and been telling everybody at the resort that my wife was having a kid, and I was like the proudest dad in the whole world. I was like, dude, this is gonna be the greatest moment of my. So everybody's like walking up to my wife, congratulating her, and she's like, "For what?" Like I'm having a great time. So I'm still friends with half or 3/4 of the people that I met there on Facebook. We keep in touch. So it's a really fun area to go. And I go back to. So I already listed Las Vegas as one of those spots, things to do. But with kids, I went as a kid 3 times with my grandparents. We actually drove from Michigan all the way to Las Vegas. Actually, we drove 2 times and 90% the 3rd time because we got to Flagstaff, Arizona. We all got food poisoning, and that was like the longest 5 days back home that I've ever had, and never actually made it to Las Vegas. But there's so many things to do as a kid. Again, I enjoy those night things. I enjoy the waterfalls. Circus isn't what it used to be. I went as an adult the last time I went. Circus doesn't really actually open up like every part of their whole thing. Circus is exactly what it sounds like. It's a circus for upstate. They put on a show every half hour. You play like these carnival games and things like that, win prizes. One thing my wife and I love to do is play carnival games. 1, because we love to compete with each other, and 2, because we love to win huge ass prizes and then piss parents off by giving it to their kid. So that way they have to try to bring like this giant stuffed animal home, right? So crap, it's a 6-foot inflatable alien type thing. Like the thing is huge. My wife wins it. 4-year-old, we're like, here, take this and go. And like, thanks. And like their parents are looking, they're like, oh crap, So we we do this all the time. We just give like the biggest prize that we can and then try to give it away, just because that they're gonna have to try to like. You ever go to Cedar Point or whatever Disney? Everybody's been to like some amusement park. You always see that one person that doesn't have enough room in their car, so they like bungee cord this huge prize to the top of their roof, and you're like, I want to be the guy to make that person have to do that. But yeah, so as we said, going out of the country to me is so we talk about baseball and how that trip on the East Coast is going to be expensive. I mean, we're all going to want really nice seats when we go because, I mean, it's not like you're doing it every day. But when you go to Mexico, I mean, honestly, I find cheap everything. So for 7 days, 7 days, 6 nights, we paid, I want to say $532 a person, including airfare, including hotel, and that includes all your drink and all your food if you want to stay there. I mean, granted, we left the resort and we ate. I mean, if I saw a taco truck, my goal was to eat that taco truck, right? Like, I was like, oh, tacos. I'm like, oh, I'm so full. Oh, there's a taco. Like, I have a problem, okay? If that's what you guys want to hear. I admit it. But, so I think, and again, going to all-inclusives, you can make it as cheap as you want. So I could have done that trip for $1,100 and been completely fine just relaxing by a pool. Again, there's enough activities, things like that. If you're into working out, every one of them has a fitness club so that you can keep your bod while you're drinking your beers and things like that. There's the one thing I will give the Dominican over Mexico, it just happened to be the resort. Again, we love shows, right? We love entertainment. I love being entertained. The night entertainment in the Dominican was by far 20 times better than Mexico's nightly entertainment. I mean, Mexico's nightly entertainment, they put up karaoke real quick one night. They did something like this other one. They brought in actual people. There was trapeze artists in Dominican. There was, I mean, just this. There was a dance. There was like a full dance club that got brought in. I can't describe. I mean, half an acre's worth of like dance floor and stuff. Like took the whole beach. I mean, this thing was just fantastic. Like they made this whole thing a rock party. Just so the night entertainment there was way better. That's one thing I want to go on a cruise because there's nightly entertainment every night, and that's something that like that interests me, right? I go to Las Vegas because I've seen every comedian magician there is. Like I love comedy and magic, right? Like literally, if you could put me as one person, I mean, I'm a magician and I love to be funny, so like it's my favorite thing. And you can do it for very very inexpensive. David and I have this fight all the time. He can go to Hawaii for, as he said, $700 just for a plane ticket.
Right, yeah.
And I can go food, drink, and a plane ticket to Mexico for $600. I mean, right? Like I officially have, when you come to budgeting, I have beat him financially all day, every day. So
well, I will say I will get back to Hawaii, but I'm definitely starting to open myself up to those more budgeted vacations and tropical places because I like saving money and I'd like to go do this more often. So I'm going to ask Mike about a baseball game here in a minute, but before I do that, I'm going to say Nick brought up a point probably a while ago that was, hey, if you don't have to go on spring break, don't. Because everybody travels on spring break. They got kids. It's more expensive. Go in the off times. You can save so much more money and make your money last so much farther than what you can do if you're going on one of those peak travel times. So Mike's birthday, I want to say his 24th birthday. Would I be right?
What year was it again?
It was in 98.
Yeah, 24.
So Mike's 24th birthday, as far as he and I are concerned, the greatest pitched game ever in the history of baseball. It should have been a no-hitter, but unfortunately they called it a hit, even though it wasn't. Mike, you want to set that stage?
A young Kerry Wood. It throws 20 strikeouts.
Oh, no.
Yes, on my birthday.
His slider and his curveball that day were fall off the plate perfect. He made the Houston Astros look like a freaking Little League team. He was magical. I still think the greatest game I ever saw pitched. I didn't start watching until like the third or fourth inning. And I remember turning it on, and you could just see in the beginning of that game, you're like, wow, something's happening here. And it just turned out to be a freaking masterpiece. 1-0 win, 20 Ks. That was a magical season in and of itself because the Cubs were not supposed to do anything, and they ended up, winning the wild card. And I went to 10 ball games that year. Mike probably went to 6 or 7 of them with me. Sat in the bleachers a ton of times. That was the year I turned 21, so I drank in the bleachers for the first time legally.
Yeah.
But, when we talk about Chicago, Wrigley Field, that's that number one destination. If you're going to Chicago, go to Wrigley Field.
If by chance you're not a baseball fan, I'm sorry. I do apologize to you for not enjoying life to the fullest. But, like New York, I enjoy Chinatown. I do, right? It's just it's a fast-paced environment. It's something new to me. I love boba tea. I love watching them make ramen noodles, right? So I mean, you can go to this window and you see this Asian guy pull, slap, and like it's going crazy, man. Like so, Chicago. So I think one of the reasons Chicago's not one of my biggest destinations is because I'm probably like David. I mean, if I wasn't at Cedar Point when my wife and I first got together, it was every other weekend. We went to Cedar Point and then we went to Chicago, and we just spend time in both places. So, and then we broadened our horizons and started going a little bit farther out. So
and for Midwestern people, Chicago is one of those places, Cedar Point in the summer and Chicago any other time, that it's easy to get to. It's cheap enough to go. You can make a day trip out of it, depending on where you live. And you can hit so many different things there that are cheap or affordable. Wrigley Field is not just Wrigley Field. It's an entire neighborhood. And that neighborhood You can go to the bars, you can go, shop in the shops. It's just a magical area. That 98 season, when the Cubs were in the playoffs, there was one playoff game in Chicago. Mike and I did not have tickets. I was living in Rockford, Illinois at the time. We watched the game in Rockford, Illinois. Where did we spend the day, though, Mike?
In Chicago.
In Chicago, at Wrigley Field.
Wrigley Field, yeah.
We were down there. We were taking in the atmosphere. It's just different. I got to go to Kaminsky before they tore Kaminsky down, which, it was one of those old ballparks that had a lot of character. I watched the Blue Jays absolutely hammer the crap out of the White Sox. It wasn't much of a game, but I got to say I went to Kaminsky before they tore it down.
Sure.
What are you going to say, Nick?
No, I was going to say, when you talk about it being a small town, like it literally, like it's so hard to describe to people. Like you have to go live it yourself. So, there's a baseball field. There's a few bars. But then you have like all these like condo or apartments like just surrounding. Like it's so close. It's so tight knit, and like there's like it's like everybody just parties right here, and then like you take like it's like if you're in a mosh pit, and then you like take a step outside of this mosh pit. You're like, I can breathe, like, and you can just walk right back into this, and it's just constant people like, and I don't want to say I'm a Cubs fan, right? But like, I'm a Cubs fan because they're my other league team. Because I grew up being raised watching baseball. So you'd come home, and again, Cubs don't play night games, right? So you just watch it on TV at noon, or 1 o'clock, which is noon their time, and that's what you'd watch. So you have to kind of be. So like. It's a great town. If you get time, even if you're not a baseball fan, go and enjoy the town. Like it's a fun little community. It really is. Like these people, again, you can go to White Sox, which I go every year to the White Sox. Multiple reasons. One, more Tigers people show up to Tigers versus White Sox games than White Sox people do. So we hear so much crap about White Sox people. So me and my buddies, I'm quite large, 6'1", whatever. My buddies are like 6'6", and so we're wearing all of our Tigers jerseys and stuff like that. And this White Sox guy looks at us, and we're like, oh, here it goes, right? We just stepped out of our car, and like, here it comes. So this guy goes, oh, you guys here to watch the game? He goes, I hope you guys enjoy yourself and have a real great time. Thanks for coming. And I was like, no, I want some trash talk, man. Like, here we go. Come to find out, so everybody's very welcoming there. It's a great park as well. But that literally is like, there's just parking lots, right? It's all parking lots, and the baseball. Yeah. There's no like community feel of this thing. Like this other one just feels like every game at Wrigley is like the community comes in, right? Like even if you don't have tickets, you just hang out there. You're like, how's it going, man? Yeah, doing it. Like you want to know how somebody's family is. It's great. So
yeah, it's definitely one of my favorite towns. Whether you got kids or if you have kids, it's a fantastic town. You can go to Shed's Aquarium, or you can go to Lincoln Park Zoo, which is free, and that's to me phenomenal. It's one of the best zoos in the U.S. It's got a great gorilla exhibit. It's absolutely free to go to. They charge for parking if you drive, but for the value you're getting, it's just phenomenal. Great shopping up and down State Street or Michigan Avenue. Fantastic food. If you like Italian beef, you hit Al's. If you like Chicago dogs, you hit Portillo's or any of the other 800 different types of Chicago dog places that there are. Winner's Circle, Super Frank, whatever. It's just a great place for food. And I'm a big guy. Nick's a big guy. We love food.
Chicago deep dish pizza. We had a Giordano's for a little bit. Illuminati's. You got to try pizza. Everybody. So I'm the guy. If anybody out there is watching, and you've seen the movie Elf, right? He comes in, and on the sign it says "World's Greatest Cup of Coffee" or whatever. World's Greatest Coffee. So he walks in and he's so, congratulations. So like when I go to New York or when I go to Chicago and it says like world's greatest pizza, I'm like, I'm here to call your bluff, right? Like, so I don't do it in New York because you'll get full. Like literally every place is a pizza shop that has like pizza in the window, and you're like, cool, I'm gonna try this just to call you. But no, so Chicago just filled with food, filled with entertainment. One thing, so budgeting tip that I want to give you guys. My wife and I are members of the Grand Rapids Public Museum. I buy that for my wife or for my daughter for Christmas. I don't remember what it costs, $50 or something for the year for the family, $80, I don't know. But she gets that because we go to the museum quite a bit, and I want her to be educated. But that being said, Chicago, right, we're talking about Sheds Aquarium. You get a discount for being a museum member. If you're a museum member, no matter where you are, chances are, so the greatest museum we've been to is the Science and Industry Museum. Right? And we get in free. So my family gets in for free because we are members of the Grand Rapids Public Museum. We get into other, children's museums for free, like anywhere outside of like a 50-mile range. So we can go for free. We can go to zoos as well at discounted rates, cheap tickets. So take a look at some of those things. I know it is spending money like $50, but so every year my nieces. So when I was a kid, my aunt let us drive the Amtrak, which is a train that'll go, to Chicago, and so we would take the Amtrak when we turned 10 years old, and we'd go to Chicago and go to Nike and go to all these fun little things, and she would take us. So I started doing that with my nieces and nephews. Well, now that and then we also go to Medieval Times. I absolutely love Medieval Times. I can go a million times. So we go to Medieval Times. We go to Science and Industry Museum, and because we have the membership, we get discounted tickets for them, or they get in because we didn't bring our kid because we're allowed one kid. So we get to go for free. So it pays for itself sometimes to buy these memberships. Just look at what discounts you get. And I know for us, so like every month is something, they'll do what's called a share. So if I have a membership for the Grand Rapids Public Museum, I know like June, I could have went to the Kalamazoo Air Zoo for free, right? Like I could have tickets. I can go to the Grand Rapids Public or Grand Rapids Children's Museum for free during 1 month. I can, so all these random things I can go to for a discount or for free, depending on the month and things like that. But it's always a discount at places as long as you're a member. So it's really worth it.
So we talk about credit cards on here a lot.
Yep.
I'd have to look into it, but Bank of America used to do a deal where you could get into many of these places either 2 for $1 or for free on certain days if you had a Bank of America card. You just had to say, hey, here's my Bank of America card, and they just let you walk right on in. I know the Field Museum in Chicago was partnered with that for quite a while.
Yep.
And again, great ways to save money. If you're looking for something to do, wherever you live, there's something within driving distance that's affordable.
Yeah. One other tip I forgot about. I remember going to Nashville. So I just went to the Nashville Chamber of Commerce or something, or I might have Googled Nashville coupons just because I didn't know anything about the town. I want to know about it. A couple of coupons popped up. It was like buy one, get one free drinks, and it included alcohol and stuff like that. So I printed off all these coupons. Granted, the first place that we went to wasn't really accepting because she's like, oh gosh, cheap people. And I was like, I just like, I'm here because of this coupon. Like, I'll drink all day if the music's good. And, but then we also had a coupon for, we paid like $40 for like 5 activities. We visited the Ryman, we took a bus tour. We did it at the Country Music Hall of Fame. We did the Grand Ole Opry, so many things, right? So, or 5 to 7 things, I don't remember. But so on this bus trip to get down to downtown, we're talking to the person, and we're like, hey, what's a good local place? So my next tip is always talk to people on what is the best deal for the best food. So in Nashville, there's this place called Demos. Big shout out. My buddy went and brought back my wife a T-shirt because that's how much we love Demos. It's a Greek-owned Italian restaurant. So the family is Greek. They happen to, and it's the best lunch. I mean, I'm a big dude. I was full off of lunch. My homemade fettuccine Alfredo was fantastic. The portion was amazing, and I paid $5 for it. Right, so we ate there just like the shave ice. We ate there every day. Like we loved it so much the first day. We ate there every day. Like, and it was just hands down fantastic. So that's another thing. Look for coupons before you go. Search the areas. Always type like what to do, and then when you find something that you want to do, just see if there's a coupon out there. Right? I mean, don't be ashamed to be like, hey. Sometimes if you know that you're gonna go, like to let's say Nashville, and you can buy these tickets ahead of time. Sometimes it's like, hey, buy now and save, because this guarantees their money ahead of time, so they want to give you the discount. And like David said, he was in Hawaii, did the riverboat dinner cruise. We do that in almost every town that we go to. We love dinner cruises, again, for the entertainment, and there's nothing better than being on water. So Nashville has a great one. They go down, they turn around. So really, find discounts. Find them. Every place you go will always have something. If you're gonna book a hotel, I always use Google, or my wife uses Booking.com. And the more you actually use it, they'll give you the lowest price, or they'll give you like a low price. I don't know. She just hit like a new milestone or something for our Super 8s, so we get an even bigger discount. Nothing makes me feel more amazing than getting a discount at a cheap place to stay, because it's just a place for me to lay my head. I don't need a diamond plated pillow. So.
Well, and you bring up a great point, Nick. So if you're looking for hidden gems, I highly recommend talking to the people that live there. So our last few days when we were in Waikiki, Dawn's like, I want to know where everybody here eats. So she'd stop and ask the bellboys or the front desk people. She's like, hey, if you need to eat, where do you eat? And they recommended a Korean place for breakfast. And they said, just be prepared. They only take cash, which, I hate paying cash, but I took cash with me. Fine. Fantastic breakfast from the Korean place. I don't remember the name of it. And then they recommended Blazing Steaks for a meal, which had just phenomenal steak. Off the beaten path. It's tucked, basically under this building. You walk down into it, and it just had phenomenal food. That's how you find out things. I found out about Matsumoto because we asked somebody, and they're like, oh, you're driving up to the North Shore. Stop here, stop here, stop here. And we're like, all right. That's how you find things out, because you don't live there and you don't know. If somebody said to me, what's the pizza place you recommend in Chicago? I'm going to say, hey, you know what? Go down to Gino's East on Ontario. Fantastic pizza. It's my favorite in town. If they're too busy, find Lou Malnati's on State Street. Go hit them. People that are from that area or know that area, they know where to go, and that's who to trust, because they're going to steer you in a good direction, either for entertainment or for food or whatever it may be.
Yeah. So, Mike, anything to add for tips for cheap vacationing or just vacationing in general?
Just kind of what you said. I mean, I think especially if you're going, you mentioned Airbnbs and stuff like that. If you're going to like Europe and you can trust them, I mean, look into things like hostels. If you don't have, young kids, you get a bathroom or whatever for $20 a night. There's just, if you feel safe, do those kind of things, especially if you're traveling in a group where you're not by yourself,
Yep. So, I hope everybody enjoyed this episode. I know we've all enjoyed talking about it. Like always, subscribe, share. It helps us. I guess it helps us to get more people to hear our knowledge. So we hope that it helps you with anything that you're dealing with. We're always looking for ideas, so hit us up on YouTube, on Facebook, anything like that, a topic that you want to know about. So,
all right. Well, as Nick said, we're always open to sponsorships. So Reds, if you're out there, I know Miller Coors owns you, and I also supported them. I had a Miller Lite tonight, even though it's mostly water. Nick,
yep,
with his
PBR, PBR's poured by poured out there, so wouldn't be a big deal if they go ahead and ship me a case, and I'm willing to share with you boys. Let's do it.
I'm hoping at some point here in the near future we could do a live remote from maybe a brewery, and maybe they'll sponsor us or something. Who the hell knows?
Wouldn't that be great?
It would be fantastic. So until next time, guys, it's been great being with you, and I hope you're tuning in and sharing.